Alicia Morgan boarded Flight 472 from Chicago to Los Angeles at O'Hare International Airport on a busy Friday afternoon. She was a 42-year-old CEO of a tech startup known for its innovative software solutions and held a first-class ticket in Seat 2A. Alicia, a black woman with a commanding presence earned through years of navigating corporate boardrooms, carried a briefcase and a small carry-on. She reached her seat to find it occupied by a white passenger, later identified as Stephen Grant, a 50-year-old sales executive traveling for a conference. Stephen sat in 2A, his belongings spread across the adjacent seat. Alicia approached and said, "Excuse me, sir, you're in my seat. I have 2A on my boarding pass." Stephen glanced at her and said, I don't think so. "This is my spot. Check your ticket again." Alicia presented her boarding pass and said, "It clearly says 2A. Please move to your assigned seat." Stephen smirked and said, "Look, lady, I'm comfortable here. You must be mistaken. Maybe you're in economy." Alicia, maintaining her composure, replied, "My ticket is for first class, and I'm asking you to move." Stephen's tone grew sharper as he said, "I'm not moving. You don't look like you belong up here anyway." The comment carried a racial undertone that drew the attention of nearby passengers. A flight attendant, Jessica Carter, noticed the exchange and approached. She asked, "Is there an issue here?" Alicia explained, "This gentleman is in my seat, and he refuses to move." Stephen interrupted, "She's confused. I paid for first class, and I'm staying." Jessica checked Alicia's boarding pass and confirmed, "Ma'am, you're correct. This is your seat." She turned to Stephen and said, "Sir, please show me your boarding pass." Stephen handed over his pass, which showed seat 12C in economy. Jessica said, "Your seat is in row 12. You need to move now." Stephen raised his voice, saying, "This is ridiculous. I'm not going back there. Do you know who I am? I fly this airline all the time." Other passengers began to murmur, some pulling out their phones to record. Alicia remained calm and said, "I just want my seat. Let's resolve this." Stephen stood up, towering over Alicia, and said, "You're causing a scene. Why don't you just go to the back where you belong?" The overt racial comment caused gasps from nearby passengers. Jessica signaled for the lead flight attendant, Michael Torres, who arrived quickly. Michael reviewed the situation and said to Stephen, "Sir, you're in violation of airline policy. Return to your assigned seat or we'll involve security." Stephen shouted, "This is discrimination against me. I'm not moving for her." He pointed at Alicia, who stepped back and said, "I'm not here to argue. Follow the rules." At this point, a passenger in first class, an older man named Richard Evans, spoke up, saying, "I saw the whole thing. He took her seat and insulted her." The situation escalated as Stephen refused to comply. Michael used the intercom to contact the gate agent, requesting security assistance. Within minutes, 2 airport police officers arrived, followed by a TSA supervisor. The officers asked Stephen to present his boarding pass and ID. He complied but continued to argue, saying, "This is my seat, and she's lying. Check her ticket again." The TSA supervisor scanned both boarding passes and confirmed Alicia's assignment to 2A. The officers instructed Stephen to gather his belongings and move to 12C. He refused, saying, "I'm not sitting in economy. This is unfair." The officers warned, "If you don't comply, you'll be removed from a flight." Stephen's defiance grew and he said, "You can't do this. I'll sue the airline." The officers then attempted to escort him out, but he pulled away, causing a commotion that delayed boarding. The captain, informed of the disturbance, announced over the intercom, "Due to a passenger issue, we're holding the flight. Please remain seated." Passengers groaned, and some expressed frustration towards Stephen. A woman in row 3 said, "Just get him off so we can leave." The officers called for backup, and 2 additional security personnel arrived, along with Federal Air Marshal who had been on the flight discreetly. The Air Marshal identified himself and said, "Mr. Grant, you're disrupting a federal operation by delaying this flight. Step off the plane now or you'll be arrested." Stephen, now visibly shaken, said, "This is about her, not me," pointing at Alicia. The Air Marshal replied, You stole her seat and made discriminatory remarks. You're the problem. Stephen was handcuffed and led off the plane, his protests echoing through the cabin. The airline grounded the flight temporarily to resolve the incident. Alicia was offered an apology by the captain, who said, "We're sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am. You're welcome in first class." Alicia nodded and said, "Thank you. I just wanted to sit in my seat." The gate agent rebooked Stephen on a later flight, and he was banned from boarding until cleared by authorities. The incident report was filed with the FAA, citing Stephen's violation of federal regulations on passenger conduct. Alicia provided a statement detailing the racial comments and his refusal to move. Witnesses, including Richard and other passengers, corroborated her account. Stephen faced charges for disorderly conduct and interfering with a flight crew, a federal offense. The airline issued a statement condemning discrimination and reinforcing their policy on seat assignments. Alicia, whose identity as a CEO became known through media coverage, used the incident to speak at a conference about workplace inclusivity. Stephen's employer was notified, and he faced internal discipline. The flight resumed after a 45-minute delay, with passengers applauding Alicia's restraint. She continued her work, unbothered by the incident, while Stephen's actions became a cautionary tale in airline training programs.